Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
This is Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com. For you motorheads who love off-roading, you know that with off-roading you can have all kinds of problems. Maybe a suspension problem while you're on the trail, a tire issue, something you have to fix while you're out there. And Todd, we know that the scissor jacks that are out there, I have one for my vehicle at home. Half the time it doesn't get it high enough. And then you have the farm type jack you can put on these things. But what are some of the problems on the trail with a jack like that?
The biggest problem would be the reach, the inability to lift the vehicle high enough to make the repair that's necessary. And once you're in the air, the instability of that height becomes a bigger problem. We all enjoy a great amount of travel for the recreating portion, and then when we need to make a repair, it becomes our biggest challenge.
So you have to lift the vehicle high enough to get the suspension off the ground.
Exactly.
So your vehicle's way up in the air and the tire's barely off the ground.
Yeah.
So you came up with a solution. It's called the Jack Daddy. How does a Jack Daddy work?
So the Jack Daddy has nubs that mount onto the machine, so the bracket kit is always on the machine once it's installed. And then the jack will attach to that bracket kit, so you always have a direct point that you're mounting to that you know of. It pins in place and it becomes extremely stable once it's in the air.
I've seen other people talking about this and it's the same reaction I had. That's it?
That's it.
It seems so simple. You're just kind of using it as a lever to get it up there. So you talked about the brackets. How do those go on the vehicle?
The brackets are installed, there's no drilling, comes with all the hardware needed, and they basically replace the lower shock bolt, front or rear. And the lower shock bolt comes with new bolt and the nub system that will allow the jack to fasten to the machine and then safely lift it in place.
And you can do that on all four corners?
All four corners,
and
whether you have A-arms or trailing arms. They're machine specific, so they fit every model, any style.
And if you go to the Tuff Trail Gear website, you can see there's PDF files with all the different vehicles, and it shows you how to mount all the parts and what parts you need to get it done here. So the Jack Daddy, what makes it better than all the other jacks we've talked about?
Well, the Jack Daddy has no lift mechanism. You extend it too far and you pull up onto it, you drive up onto the jack. And as you drive up onto the jack, you load the suspension back as if the tire were still in play. Although the shock has been compressed back where it belongs and the tire can be removed. And with it being pinned in place, if you were to lean on the machine or wiggle it, you still have 3 of the tires on the ground with the one that you need the repair on accessible and still safe and stable.
So I heard you use the term unjack earlier here when we were talking to the studio.
Well, typically you're raising the machine like a typical jack, but we consider it somewhat of an unjack because we're still lifting the machine, but we're compressing the suspension back where it would typically be. So it's lifting the machine as if it were a jack, but it's doing a little bit different where it's loading the suspension back up. And that's our advantage.
Some of the other jacks we've talked about are super precarious when you're out there on the trail, especially with the uneven terrain and everything. How stable is the Jack Daddy?
The Jack Daddy is probably the most stable jack on the market. It has a specific location. It's intended for that location, and it will always stay in that location while the machine's in the air and the repairs are being made.
So how do you connect it when you need it? How do you connect it to the machine, and then how do you use it?
So on the bracket kit, you would have the nub. There's several different applications here. This would be a trailing arm application, and they're all machine specific, so they vary slightly, but the concept's the same.
So this is mounted to your trailing arm.
Yeah.
And you attach it here.
Exactly. And then you would take the pin it in place so that it can no longer rotate. And once it goes into the air, it's loaded, the suspension's loaded from that.
And simple as that. You put it in park?
Put it in park and chalk the wheel.
How well does the Jack Daddy do on the rear versus the front of the vehicle?
It's exactly the same. Application's the same. The only thing that would change is the height from the ground based on the condition you may or may not be in.
And its compact size enables you to transport it a lot easier than some of the other jacks.
Yeah, so its total length of the body is 13 inches and its longest shaft is 17.5. So the longest portion of the jack would be 17.5 inches that can compact down to, well, here it is installed on the machine. It's very lightweight.
And you can get the brackets that'll mount on the side of the machine, or you can get a bag and just throw it in your toolbox. So it makes it super easy. Speaking of toolbox, this is sort of a Swiss Army knife, if you will, as well. It's not just a jack or jack stand. What other kind of accessories do you have on the website?
So we came out with our tie-down point, which is a fixture that can mount onto, it can go into either any of the nubs, any four corners, and then it's pinned in place, and then you can secure your machine from our tie-down point down to your trailer floor while you're transporting it. So the tie-down point's below the suspension pole, down the solid axle point, so it's a lot more stable.
So you don't have the vehicle bouncing around on the trailer. Very cool.
And then we have our breaker bar attachment. It's a half-inch drive, and it will pin onto the end of either one of the shafts. So the jack will always come with a 17-inch shaft and a 13-inch shaft. While you're using the jack, you'll be occupying one of the shafts. You'll always have one of those shafts available for our breaker bar attachment to pin onto to get axle nuts off, lug nuts, and any other repairs you might need to have a little more strength and power to get them.
The Jack Daddy is a great design, and you know it's going to be a quality product that's going to last you a long time because it's made in the USA. Find it at tufftrailgear.com. That's also where you can get a discount because you are a Motorhead Garage viewer, Motorhead 24. While you're thinking about how to get out on the trail, these guys are thinking about how to get you back. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com, so don't go anywhere.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com, is brought to you by Amsoil, the first in synthetics, Campbell's Custom Care, your detail specialist, and by DragonfireTools.com, industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage.
We are Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com. You know, whether you're a pro or an amateur, working on your car can be difficult because it's so hard to see sometimes. Of course, if you're like me, you got a 6-year-old holding a flashlight, not that consistent. I love you, Lincoln, but not that great to work on the flashlight. And it's always a never-ending struggle to get the light where you need it, Kevin, but you fix that with Goose Grip. How did you do it?
Absolutely. The very first light that we made is called the Goose Grip Mechanics Work Light. It uses a vacuum suction plate on a long, bendable gooseneck with a LED light stick at the end and a very, very special swivel. And it looks a little crazy, I know, but what we do is we take this, if we're working under the hood, we're going to take this, which is a vacuum suction plate, otherwise known as a suction cup, and we're going to take this and we're going to put it through where the hood and the wiper shelf meet, and we're simply going to guide that through, position the suction cup down at the lower end of the windshield, and we're going to clip the handles. And now you can take this and you can bend it however you want. I'm going to take the Milwaukee battery and we're going to insert that. Now we're going to turn the light on, and you get to position it however you want. If you're doing an alternator or power steering or anything down below the height of the engine, just position it where you want. And now you can work with both your hands. You don't have to worry about a light falling. It'll stay wherever you put it, and wherever you turn it to, it stays in that position. Ballerina, 360-degree rotation, and also airplane propeller. It'll stay wherever you put it. Put it any place, at any angle, and you're free to use it.
This is something that needed to exist, and here it is.
I made it for me. I'm a mechanic 40 years, and this was the first light that I made. Everything is custom made. It doesn't break. It's really the definition of rugged. Everything is steel, stainless steel, and 6061 aluminum. The light stick is 100% waterproof to 28 feet. Not that you'd put it under the water.
Where's it made?
We make them right here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, one at a time. All custom made, nothing's off the shelf. So we have another light. This is called the Goose Grip Super Articulating Chassis Light. And it uses the same design of a M12 battery in a housing and a gooseneck. It's a little shorter because you don't need all of that length under a car. And you can simply take the battery and insert it in this light. And now if you're under the car, you can clip this to an exhaust pipe or a bracket or a control arm or the frame rail, anything irregular. And under the car, it wouldn't matter because it'll leave a mark, it's teeth. But under a car on an exhaust pipe would be acceptable. You couldn't use this under the hood because you're going to leave teeth marks.
We're used to the traditional hood light. that hangs across the top of the hood, and you've addressed that as well for folks that like to work with that sort of light. You can also use this as sort of a backup. Maybe you want to use this in concert with one of those lights as well.
Hood lights have been around for a really long time, and they're usually about 4 or 5 pounds, and they have the big springs that hold on the edge of the hood. Like I said, 4 pounds, a lot of them. This is the Goose Grip 39-inch stick light, and this weighs 7.5 ounces.
And you've put a couple of magnetic loops up there already. And,
absolutely.
That's all you need to do.
And so, okay, you just slide it through, and now you have this light right here, and I'm going to use the portable version of the battery pack. I call it the Buffalo, and this will stick, of course, to any metal. We could actually put it on the hood and plug it in, and now you have 3,600 lumens of overhead lighting, just like a hood light.
Goose Grip's got you covered whether you're working under the hood or under the vehicle. Find all of it at goosegrip.com. And find more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com right after this.
Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com, coming to you from the Shade Wagon Studio.
Here at Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com, we know you're just like us. You love to overland, you love to camp, you love to go canoeing, maybe biking, something like that. Any number of things, Charlie. How can Rhino Rack help me for any of my adventures?
We like to make space for adventure at Rhino Racks. So whether you're biking, hiking, skiing, camping, overlanding, we want to help you outfit your vehicles on those adventures. So we've got a variety of accessories and racks and systems that get you out into the woods to help you do that, or down to the beach, or off to the mall. Whatever it is you want to do with your automobile, wherever you want to take it, we want to be a part of it and help you make space to do it.
I know Rhino Rack loves 2 things, durability and versatility. Let's first talk about the durability. How are the racks from Rhino Rack made?
So we were born and bred in the Australian outback, right? So you've got
enough said, right?
Exactly. If it's tough enough to survive the outback, it's tough enough to survive your adventures in the United States or anywhere else you go. Fully aluminum trays, fully aluminum accessories and bars, right? So we've knocked off that corrosion problem. Any stainless steel and any hardware is going to be corrosion-proof, powder-coated. It's going to handle your salt spray. It's going to handle your UV rays. It's a rack for a lifetime, for sure.
And of course, I might add a warranty. You guys stand behind your products, of course.
Absolutely. We want to be as tough as the adventures you take, so you can give our customer service a call, and we're going to take care of you for everything we can.
And now let's talk about the versatility here. Now we have the bed rack here on this Toyota here.
Right, the Recon deck.
Yeah, the Recon deck. What sets us apart from some other racks we're going to find out there?
First one, safety, right? So we have to operate within the means of the vehicle. So our Recon deck system works seamlessly with your factory rails on your vehicle. So your Toyotas and your Dodge, things that have those racks, we're going to work with those. The system's going to work and be versatile for any of your ventures. So you can outfit this as a single bar, as a 2-bar. You can put a platform up there. You can put a basket up there. Anything that you want to do with the bed of this truck to double your storage capacity, the Recon deck's going to let you do it.
And let's talk about installation, because that's another concern people will have. Do I need to take this to a pro? Can I do it myself?
Definitely a do-it-yourself-at-home kit. So each vehicle is going to have a specific fit kit that's going to allow the towers and the bars to fit that vehicle. And it's just, it's an afternoon in the garage, an afternoon in the driveway with some friends. All your installation tools are included with the product, and we make it easy on the instructions step by step. So definitely something you can take on yourself, or if you're comfortable, take it to a professional.
Let's quickly brush through the step by step. We just installed this a few minutes ago, and it didn't take long at all.
Right on. So we recommend just getting everything mocked up, open all your parts, check all your instructions, make sure your hardware is there, make sure all your pieces and you understand what they are. And then you're simply just going to pop out the end caps on your rails, follow that in with some hardware, line everything up one piece at a time, build it from the ground up, right? We started with the towers, then we added the crossbars, then we added the north-south bars, and if you wanted more adventure on top of that, you just keep adding your accessories.
And let's talk about accessories. What kind of things can I put on my rack from Rhino Rack?
Sky's the limit, right? So from rooftop tents to traction boards, shovels, recovery gear, kayak racks, storage boxes, all of these things. Whatever you can dream up, we've most likely got one of 100 accessories that'll fit that.
Lots of accessories from Rhino Rack. You brought a couple to show us. Let's see what you got.
So we've got the new large Stow-It. This new product is one of our launching the Stow-It families. This guy here is a multi-tool holder. It's going to hold something at about 2 to 3 inches in diameter, so you're going to be able to get an axe or 2 axes and a shovel or whatever it is that you want to put in here. This is a pretty versatile product in our new Stow It lineup. Something else that comes with is an insert for a high lift jack. So we all know how difficult those things are to carry around.
They always rattle.
They always rattle.
You can never find a way to keep it secure, lock it up or anything.
That's right. So we've answered all those questions, right? With that insert in the pin, we can close this down. You can see it's going to surround your handle and it's going to surround your I-beam. It's going to work with our master lock fit sets at Rhino Rack. So this answers that, and this bracket here is going to allow you to mount that to any surface. It doesn't have to be mounted to a roof rack at all. You can put this on a trailer, you can put it across your hood like guys like to do. Anywhere you can put that, it's going to hold your high lift jack for you.
And all these, of course, detach really easily because you have this system here.
That's right. Our Stow It starter kit's going to allow you to get home, right? We always have to find a place to put this stuff. So say you want to change it out for the weekend, you want to put an awning in place of a shovel, or you want to just take the awning off because you don't want to drive to work with it on Monday. The Stow It starter pack system is going to allow you to have a different set of mounting brackets that'll leave the foot on the rack, and you can remove the accessory when you get home and stow it for safety, just for convenience, fit in your garage. And when you get out to adventure, you can snap that back on, and one bolt's going to hold it in place for the whole trip.
For weekend warriors as well, you have the quick mounts.
That's right.
Leg
So,
set there.
yep, our quick disconnect leg system. It's going to have our quick disconnect feet. So these are going to slide in, allow you to drop it into its base, and once it's attached to the vehicle, they'll snap back out. They'll sit right into a little base. It also comes with a cover, so if you get home and you want to take the whole system off the bed of your truck, the whole system off your roof, you can take it up, hang it out, or even switch it out for something different if you want to.
Rhino Rack can carry all the gear you need to get into trouble, but you can also carry the gear to get us out of trouble as well.
Absolutely. So with the Max Trax lineup, we've got a full range of recovery boards from the absolute extreme. If you're getting into the worst trouble, the extremes are going to take care of you, all the way down to something like a daily driver with our brand new light edition boards, right? Something we want to consider like a spare tire, right? If you can get into the trouble, we want to get you out of it.
With Rhino Rack, it doesn't just stop with Max Trax. They have a full line of recovery gear. You can find all of this and a whole lot more at rhinorack.com. And you can find more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com right after this break. Don't go anywhere.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com. Industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage. And brought to you by PaintedAutoBodyParts.com, the leading U.S. auto body parts online store. Tailgate Defender, engineered to fold, built to hold. And by Sun Gold Power, the best off-grid solar system.
Hey, just checking out this refractometer reading. You guys want to take a look? Bam. What are you looking at? You're actually looking at the weight or the specific gravity of fluids. You can see battery, glycol, different coolant, stuff like that. Super important, and that's important when it comes to oils because we're talking about viscosity, Len.
Viscosity is an important piece of oil technology.
I'll tell you what, let's have a little bit of a race, man. What do you got right there?
Well, I've got an SAE 60 racing oil.
All right, and I'll use the actual 0W16.
I feel like I'm going to lose, but we'll explain that in a minute.
Yeah, you might lose, but let's take a look at it. So this is the thick one, and this is the thin one. According to that viscosity rating, let's see if that's actually true. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop these balls in, and we're going to watch them go down. So in 3, 2, 1, boop, there they go. Man, look at the difference. That one went down in no time. Len, you lost. Why is that?
Well, I lost because that 60 weight is a thicker oil.
It is a thicker oil, and our chart actually showed you that perfectly. The high viscosity, the slower the flow. Lower viscosity, faster the flow. Even more important, starts to mess with temperature. This is huge because you've got the 20W50 on the top and the 0W30 on the bottom end, but there's a huge range difference in between there. Why is that? What's temperature have to do with it?
Well, as you can see, for starters, it should be noted that engine oil, that second number, the one that indicates the viscosity, is taken at 212 degrees F. That's an industry standard. It's also generally the operating temperature of the oil in your car. But as you start to look at those lower numbers, your 20W, your 15Ws, your 10s, that indicates how the oil moves at low temperature. The higher that number, the slower it's going to move. So a 20W50 is not going to move well at low temperature. Reverse that, a 0W30, say, is going to move very well at low temperatures. Why is that important? Because of the technology that we're dealing with on some of these new vehicles.
And that's even room temperature. I mean, you can hear it here. That one kind of sloshes around.
Not as much.
Pretty thick. Yeah, it makes a big difference. Vehicles are sophisticated today, and your oil has to be. You know, you got systems like displacement on demand, variable valve timing, you got timing chains that are driven by oil. Use the manufacturer specified viscosity rating. If you're not sure which oil to use, no worries. Just go to amsoil.com. The viscosity and quantity, they'll tell you everything, and they'll give you the best oil for your vehicle.
All right, let me tell you the story of John Wayne Mayberry. He's our PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week. Well, back when he was 4 years old, JW's mom caught him with her nail polish. And he was using that red nail polish to change the color of his Hot Wheels cars naturally. And his mom said, you know, I think cars are going to be in your future. Of course, mom was right. Now, JW took auto body and fender classes in Votech, and he honed his skills working in a body shop. And just a few years later, he moved to Florida. That's where he opened and ran his own body shop for 12 years. And JW was forced out of the business when he had a stroke back in 2009, but he never lost his passion and his love for cars. He started building his toolbox back up, and he's joined the Early Ford V8 Club, for which he is the secretary and the paint and body man for the other club members as well, naturally. And right now, JW is working on his own 29 Ford at the club. He also loves cruising around in his 67 Plymouth Fury. Let me tell you, that thing is a looker. So thank you, JW Mayberry, for being our PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week. You can do it too. You can become the Motorhead of the Week. Just send us a note at MotorheadGarage.tv. Tell us why you or someone you know should be Motorhead of the Week. Quite an honor. We'll be back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com next week. We hope you join us then. So long.